Hi there, Marriott Martinez here, and now we're going to go deeper into navigating through QuickBooks Ledger. Let's just remember that this solution, QuickBooks Ledger, is only for accounting professionals. They're the only ones that have access to invest in this awesome version of QuickBooks for just $10 a month, but then you can invite your clients into this solution. I believe it truly is the simplest solution for accounting professionals, bookkeeping professionals, and tax professionals serving the small business community, the micro enterprise and solopreneur community, because they have truly given you everything you need to serve this client base. So let's cover setting both sides of the QuickBooks Ledger for success. I'm going to start with the client version of the software. So when the client is opening up their version of QuickBooks Ledger, they will see a few things different than what you see. So let's look at what they see. For example, they will still have a menu on the left-hand side, but there may be a few items on this menu that you have that they don't see. We'll cover that in a moment. Let's just focus on what they see. First, they see tons of things on the left-hand side that are not necessarily important for them at first. So you can go ahead and take a moment to help them customize their left-hand menu. Let's cover that now. You can click on their menu and you could just focus on having them see what is necessary for them to see now. And as they grow and as you continue to create a collaborative relationship with them, then you can open up the other sides. So let's go ahead and see what they want to see. For example, do they want to see the dashboard of where they're at with their business, both how to get things done quickly under quick actions or their business overview? Absolutely. That is really helpful. So we want to leave that on. Do they want to have access to reports? Yes. Do they want to look at the taxes feature of QuickBooks Ledger? Absolutely. My Accountant is the area where you can share documents and request back and forth. Let's make sure they stay accessible to that area. Of course, they want access to the transactions. That's how they're going to manage their money in and money out. Do they want access to expenses? Absolutely. Now comes information they don't need. Do they need access to apps? Well, no, because you can't connect apps or you're limited on connections. So we don't want to see that. Do we need to see access to other ways that Intuit QuickBooks is selling to your clients? Not necessarily, especially if we don't want them to be seeing areas like get lines of credit or credit cards. Do they have access to shipping? Yes. Do they need it right now? Most likely not. Let's go ahead and remove that. Live experts would be assistance for them, but you are their accounting professional. So at this point, they don't need live assistance. If they're not using the time or the payroll feature, they do not need to see this either. And the customers and leads overview, unless they're actually entering customers inside of the customers area, they may not need access to this either. So when I say they don't need access, what does that mean for you? What you'll do is you'll click on this pencil item and you'll just give them access to what they want to see. You can let them know you did this, or you can do this alongside them so they can see it, but it just gives them a much cleaner version of their QuickBooks Ledger account. So for example, I want them to see dashboards, reports, taxes, my account transactions, and expenses. And I'm going to turn everything else off for now. Again, we could always turn it back on if they start using these additional areas. Let's go ahead and save. Look how much cleaner that looks. Now you can go back into that pencil item and you can put it in the order of how you want them to work inside of QuickBooks Online. This is the concept of creating a workflow. So for example, you want them to get very comfortable with the transactions area. You want them to refer to their taxes and their reports. Possibly you'll be doing requests back and forth. You want them to enter in their expenses, and that's it. And you also want it in this order. So let's see why. We want dashboards so they can see their overall area of their business. We want transactions because this is where they're going to be managing their money in and out. We want expenses because this is where they're going to be entering their expenses, their vendors, and even being able to track if they have contractors and 1099 filing requirements. You absolutely want them to get comfortable with the reports area. And the taxes area is a cool area that's been created by QuickBooks Online versions, not only Ledger, but also the other QuickBooks Online versions, for them to keep track of income tax related items. Very cool, and I will share about this in a separate video. Also, they can have access to the My Accounts area so they can see that you're connected as an account and you can share information back and forth. Now, what happened to all of those other tabs that are not necessary for them to see right now? They're still here, but now it's such a cleaner look for them. Also, if there's something you really want them to have access to, you can customize further. You can come over here into sections, and let's say, for example, you're going to put their favorites in the bookmarks area. So you want that to go first. And then now you're going to bookmark some of the items. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's say you really want them to focus on transactions. So let's go ahead and bookmark transactions, bank transactions. So now, even if they have their menu closed, because they want to have a very clean version of the system, they can click on bookmarks, click on bank transactions, and it takes them straight to where you want to go. Now you want to go ahead and see what is different on your end. So let's look at the accountant's version of the left-hand menu. We are now in the QuickBooks Accountant version of the left-hand menu. We know that because it says QuickBooks Accountant, but we're still in that same QuickBooks Ledger account. Now, in our version, we still have several of our tabs open. Again, I don't need that if I'm working on a particular client that doesn't use any of these additional areas. So I would do the exact same thing on the accounting professional side, on the QuickBooks Accountant side. I'd click on menu, I'd customize this menu, and I'd only look at what I want to look at. So not time, not apps, and not of any of the other tabs we are not using at this moment. I'd save it, and now it's much cleaner. I know it's still here, but I don't want to see it every time I open this particular QuickBooks Ledger client. So for example, look at the dashboard. That looks very similar to what the client is seeing on their end. But then I have a client overview area and I have a books review area. These are now getting accountant specific. So now that I'm on my side, I'm going to focus on what's different. For example, client's overview is my overview of the client information, which is accountant specific. So is the books review. Now I'll go ahead and cover both of these items in a separate video, but I wanted to just show you how, in addition to customizing the client's side of the menu, I can also customize the accountant's side. And that's how you can get started and keep both sides of the story clean and organized so you can fully use QuickBooks Ledger and get those books done faster for your clients. Hope that was helpful.